Hello, my name is Christina J, and I'm a life purpose, confidence, and happiness life coach. I have created this YouTube channel in hopes to help hurting women to get back their power, confidence, and courage without feeling guilty and embrace their unique happiness in finding their life's purpose. Today, I will be talking about the excuses we make about emotional abuse. Why is that the victims of emotional abuse very often are blinded by an unhealthy love and choose to stay in abusive relationship? Emotional abuse is one of the most painful forms of violence and the one that destroys one's self-esteem. This type of abuse cuts to the very core of you, creating scars that actually can last longer than physical ones. The insults, criticism, accusations, emotional neglect slowly eats away your self-esteem until you are incapable of judging the situation realistically. Usually, a victim creates a trauma bond with an abuser. I plan to talk more about that in my other videos. As I mentioned earlier, the victim of an abusive relationship usually has very low self-esteem and might be dealing with codependency issues and carries a lot of shame and guilt with herself. Abused people think they are not worth anything better. Who else would like to have them? And after all, this partner is not that horrible compared to some other guys they know. The problem is that the abuser made you believe that. And how many times you have heard from your partner saying these words? You are crazy. Who would like to deal with such a crazy woman? You need to be thankful to me that I put up with you. Or you are so perfectionist, so demanding. No man would like to have you as his wife. Such woman as you stay single and just climb the career ladder. Or it is really not possible to live with you. You are a feminist. Or you are getting old, you know. Your body does not look the same good anymore. But still, I want you. Coded message, even if you are not treated right, you should stay with me. Anyways, you are not that beautiful anymore and you will not find anyone else. Or you should be happy with what you get. After all, I'm a good man. I do not do drugs. I do not drink alcohol or have affairs with other women. You just need to be more appreciative of what you have. None of us is perfect. And coded messages, I can treat you as I want to treat you. I want you to believe I'm a good man and there is no perfect out there, so just stick around with me. See, when you hear all these words daily, it affects you. Even if you are not treated right and you have just started to stand up for a healthy love, eventually you start believing that after all, that must be my fault. Maybe really I am too demanding. Maybe really I am exaggerating things. Maybe what he's saying is true. After all, we all make mistakes. Maybe I should just pretend that everything is good and be quiet and live with it. But that is exactly what the abusers want. They want to keep you quiet and live with it. But that's not right. They want you to believe their lies. They will try to be nice to you once in a while, and then you try to hold on those good memories, even if overall picture of your relationship is horrible. You might say to yourself, I know I'm not very happy with this person, but can I have anything better? After all, he's a good provider. Or, oh, those holidays were quite nice. Or the time we went to eat out was pretty good. Or those flowers were beautiful. I don't know. Maybe it's okay. So you try to hold on to those good memories or good things you have had together and try to approve his abusive behavior. I have known quite few women that have been abused most of their lives and they could not get out of an abusive cycle for many years as they believed the lies of the abusers and they tried to find some good things in their spouses thinking that they were the problem actually. Even their spouses constantly cheated on them and shouted and swore at them and called them names and pushed them around and did not support financially or even beat them up, they remained quiet. They stayed for their kids. They stayed thinking that maybe one day things possibly will get better. They stayed thinking that they cannot find anyone better. They stayed because they were afraid to live without stable financial support. They stayed because they wanted to demonstrate others that they are being submissive wives who can endure all the hardships and pain. Or they were afraid to be alone. Being alone is uncomfortable, so frightening to some of the victims that they'd rather stay in a toxic relationship. That is so sad. It is a tragedy. Living in such suffering all your life, believing lies, never being happy, never living to your fullest potential or following your live streams. Well, you can get out of an abusive relationship. Stop listening to the lies of an abuser. Stop listening to the lies of those who say they care about you but want to silence you and make you doubt yourself and your sanity. Stop listening to those lies that you are saying to yourself, and stop excusing abusive behavior. So today I want to look into those 10 excuses that are commonly used by victims in denial that are suffering psychological abuse at the hands of another. Hopefully you can relate to those, and that will be an eye-opener that you need to stop making those excuses and start living a different life. So number one, the excuse you make, well, it's normal really. You are trying to lie to yourself, saying it's normal, when deep inside you know it is not. Emotional abuse is sadly common, but this does not mean it's normal. A healthy relationship does not involve constantly being belittled, manipulated, and controlled. Lie number two that you say to yourself, well, they don't really mean it. In the heat of an argument, we all say things we regret. But how often are an abuser's comments callous, or they force you to do things you don't want to do daily, more than daily? If they don't really mean it, then why are they constantly saying or doing what hurts you? After all, could it be so that they actually mean it? Number three, the lie that you're saying to yourself is, it's my fault. I just drive him crazy. A key tactic of emotional abuse is psychological manipulation, which often means making you think it is your fault, that you are crazy or you are too much, and you start feeling guilty. Guilty for being you, guilty for speaking up, guilty for the abuser's rage, guilty for him not being happy. You feel guilty because you are blamed of those things. You start saying to yourself, if only I hadn't done such and such, he wouldn't have gotten so mad at me. Constantly blaming you for everything you did and you blaming yourself is just another sign you are in an abusive relationship. Number four, what you are saying to yourself, and you are lying to yourself, saying it's just their sense of humor. They are only kidding. Sometimes we all gently poke fun at someone we love, but the key is sometimes. If you are constantly the subject of jokes and the only person being made fun of is you, it's likely less fun or kind and more likely abusive. Number five, you can say to yourself, just to approve the emotional abuser, it's just their weird way of showing they love me. Deep down, I know they love me. What is their weird way of showing they love you? And how often does that happen compared to their unkindness? If they do nice things once or twice a month, but put you down and bully you daily, how is this love? When love is a supportive, accepting relationship between two loving people. Number six, that's just the way my partner is. Perhaps it's true. Perhaps they truly are unkind most of the time. But that is not to say you are to put up with it. Number seven, I can take it. It doesn't bother me so much. This is a common excuse when it comes to the emotional abuse. a sense that you are just cut out to deal with difficult people. You are a tough lady. This is really just codependency. It means you are using all of your energy to handle another person. And that is more like a power struggle. That's not even a relationship. Number 8 that you might be saying to yourself, actually, I like being treated this way, if I'm honest. Sadly, some sufferers of emotional abuse reach a point they convince themselves they like being abused. Victims might also believe they deserve to be treated this way. Nobody deep down likes being hurt. This is a survivor mechanism and the result of so much manipulation and blackmail. You are taking the blame. Number 9, it could be worse. If you are telling yourself it's not so bad as you aren't being physically hurt, remember again that the emotional abuse often eventually leads to physical abuse, and also remember that the psychological damage you are creating by being in an abusive relationship can take far longer to heal than any type of bruise or even broken bone. And number 10, if you stick around, things will change. You say to yourself, if I just stick around, the things will change. It is very unlikely that an emotional abuser can change in a relationship unless he has committed to transform and admits to be having a problem. Do not try to change the partner. Do not try to talk him into counseling or therapy. Unless someone attends therapy on their own willingness, it is rarely useful. You can wait months and years and decades and cling unto that toxic hope, cling unto that future faking. But he said things will get better yet, but I still have that hope. One thing is when your partner says the things will be better. The other one is when he puts those words into actions and uses all the tools and makes that change by God's grace. Usually all those sayings we have is as our inner dialogue. We're trying to make those excuses for an abusive partner in our minds or to our family members or friends, but deep inside, we crave for better. Now, in order to get unstuck, in order to see the abuse more clearly, instead of making excuses for emotional abuse, say the opposite things, and that will help you to get more realistic picture and eventually will help you understand that abuse is not right and trauma bond can be broken and you can heal. Another thing, say those things not just to yourself and your family, but be brave enough to communicate that to your partner as well. So ready to say the opposite of those statements I talked about earlier? Let us try. So if you are in an abusive relationship and you try to somehow approve the abuser's behavior, instead of saying to yourself and others that you can handle this or that's okay, try to say opposite to that. So when you say, I guess it's normal really, instead say, it is abnormal and not right. I should not be treated this way. Number 2, when you say to yourself or others, they do not really mean it, instead pause and ask yourself, what if actually they mean it and they do not care about me and my feelings? What if my partner likes treating me this way, being controlling, demanding, emotionally unavailable and rude? After all, he can make a choice not to treat me this way. I will stop saying he does not really mean it, and I will communicate that to him. Number 3, it is my fault and I'm driving him crazy. Switch it and say, no way it's my fault. He wants me to feel this way, but I'm not giving in. Actually, he drives me crazy. He's being an abusive partner and it has nothing to do with me. Number 4, when you say, it's just their sense of humor, they are only kidding. Instead say, that is plainly rude what he said now. It was not a joke. It was an intentional sarcasm to make me feel little, to make me feel bad. I do not like it, and I will tell him that. Number 5, when you say, it's just their weird way of showing they love me. Deep down, I know they love me. Instead, say that. I do not feel loved in my relationship. I do not like any weird types of love because I'm worthy, healthy love and respect. There is no deep downs. If the partner really loves me, he will demonstrate it. And from now on, I will not put up with his weird way of showing he loves me. Number 6, when you say to yourself, that's just the way my partner is, instead say, right, that is the way he is, but I do not like it. Being rude, unkind, selfish, controlling, blaming, and criticizing me and others, it is not okay. If he wants to stay this way, he can, but I will not tolerate him the way he is, and I will tell him that. Whether you have to work on this and change your behavior, whether I am out. Number 7, the other way of saying, I can take it, it doesn't bother me that much, is, I cannot take it anymore. It bothers me to my gut. I'm sick and tired of his behavior, and I'm not ready to take it anymore. That is why I will let him know that, and I will expect some changes. Number 8, when you say to yourself, I like being treated this way, if I'm honest, say, I hate being treated this way, to be honest. I do not want or deserve to be treated this way because I am worth of my partner's love, respect, and kindness, and I will let him know that. Number 9, when you excuse your partner's abusive behavior and you are saying to yourself or others, well, I guess it could be worse, instead say, sure thing, it could be worse, but it could be better too. I do not want any worse. I'm not worthy to get any worse, and I want to get better love. I want to get healthier relationship, and it is not wrong to want better. And number 10, when you say to yourself or others, if I just stick around, things will change, say this, I have been waiting for a change many months, many years, decades. I have been giving many chances. I have been clinging onto that toxic hope, and nothing has changed. Today is the day to reevaluate my relationships, be honest about it to myself and my partner, and ask myself, should I really stick around for any longer, or should I just go? I hope videos like these are helping you to look at your relationships from another angle, to see unhealthy patterns, to stop excusing any type of abuse, start healing, and move forward. Well, stay strong, stay courageous, get back your power and confidence, trust in God, and make those little steps towards positive changes in your life. I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. And bye for now. Take care.